Hello, I'm going to look at three at once today, just so you guys can really see the differences in your work. Okay, so this is Kelby's, and this is Britton's and Elizabeth's. So let me separate these so that they're individual. And there's good pieces to all of yours, but my focus really here for this assignment is information graphics. And are you teaching the viewer something through your graphics? Okay, so Elizabeth, yours is by far the most decorative, and in the industries that I have worked where I've done information graphics, honestly, they keep that to a minimum because it's just decoration. It's beautiful, and perhaps you would see something like this within internal documents. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But if it's a public-facing document and you're a hired graphic designer to come up with an information graphic, you would be expected to create some kind of graphics to go with it. And because of the name of the class is graphic illustration. So consider, how can you turn this information into illustrations? How can you teach somebody something? For example, Britton over here, she started to teach somebody something with information. So 81%. She's popped out the number 81%. It catches my eye. So you've got a timeline. You couldn't exactly put in a pie chart or anything unless you found some more information on the internet that told you a little bit more about Apple Incorporated. So what are the statistics with Apple right now? How many people own iPads, for example? If you're looking at the market share around the world, maybe 50% of iOS owners have iPhones. So if that were the case, you could put a pie chart in there. And if you wanted to go a decorative timeline, you could illustrate icons for every major event. So I'm basically saying, give me more. All right. And honestly, I really do dig the different washes you've put behind these, but they do make the type hard to read. And then on top of that, you've got hyphens and you've got type running into bars and so forth. So the legibility gets a little bit lost. All right, so let's talk about the other two. So Britton, I do like your color palette, but I can tell you from working in print for so long that they would send this back because these colors, these hues, would run into each other on cheap paper. Now, most magazines are printed on cheap paper, and all newspapers are printed on cheap paper. So the contrast, you'd be really surprised. Like, you might have a beautiful color palette like this, but all of these colors would sort of sync together and it'd be very difficult to read. So I think you need to really up your contrast. I think you got that idea while you were doing this with the octopus tentacles, but perhaps the bubbles should be brighter. On the flip side, over here, I like this one, Kelby, because of the white makes it really easy to read. So the only issue I see with yours is it's purely decorative. You're not teaching me anything. It's all illustration. So it's not an information graphic yet. How can you teach me something? Could it be a pie chart? Could you give me some statistics? Could you perhaps, I see a little shopping bag there. Maybe you could make a graphic, every shopping bag equals 1 billion. Where can you go with this? So same with yours, Britton, 81%. Perhaps you want a pie chart. 8 reasons to work for Nike. That looks kind of shoved in there a little bit. Perhaps how can you teach me what these things are? Even if you had numbers down here, that would look more like an information graphic. Rated in the top 100 companies to work for. I bet you could do a cool looking graph chart right here. And don't show 100, but maybe show the top 5, etc. So show me some more information graphics, teach me something. One thing I pointed out, so this is, you guys have seen Alejandra's and Christian's, but you can see with hers, she's got a lot of information in there. So one thing that I did find when I did graphics for the newspaper is when I was having a hard time coming up with visuals, it was because none of the content really grabbed me. So maybe that's what's going on with you guys a little bit. You need to go look at statistics. Get something that you can really sink your teeth into. So she has an employee rating right here, and you can see she interpreted it with stars. So, you know, I don't know how much you can trust in an employee rating, but that's a good place to start. Perhaps this is, I didn't look at this super closely, 1886, is that when Coke started? So she drew a little calendar. So, I mean, all of these things you guys can incorporate in yours. Just you come to a standstill, then go look up the statistics. All of these giant companies, you can find all that good stuff online. Anyway, that said, I think all of you have wonderful color palettes. All three of you, Elizabeth, Britton, Kelby, you have a great sense of color, and all of your designs are strong. Just, again, work towards teaching us something in one way or another. All right, let me know if you have any questions.